Cordelia is a hard story to try and pin down. It's a story where you never really know what's real and what's really happening and what's inside people's heads. I kind of think about it at the moment like a cross between a sort of David Lynch film and a Pinter play in the way that the characters relate to each other. Everything seems kind of loaded with subtext. It's dark and mysterious.
Cordelia is about 48 hours in the life of a young woman in her 30s who is a survivor. It's really about this girl on the edge, almost on the edge of you might say a nervous breakdown, but it's a psychological thriller where we slowly see her slightly collapsing and trying to deal with all the things that are going on around her. It's funny at times, it's serious at times, and it's scary, I hope. I've got one night, Sir Michael Gambon playing Moses, who's a sort of caretaker of the block of flats. I've got Antonia Campbell-Hughes playing Cordelia and also playing her twin sister, so she's going to play two parts. She's a fantastic actress. She was voted Best European Actress a couple of years ago, and she's sort of unique and interesting.
When you play twins, the first thing you do is you try and find ways to differentiate them because you're the same individual playing the two people. And actually I realised that that was not so necessary because identical twins are actually very similar. Playing Cordelia as a victim was never interesting. I wanted her from the beginning to be someone who really almost potentially manipulatively presents a meekness. And I wanted to play with the idea that maybe that was a way to be powerful. You know, I just wanted it to be authentic, for it to be believable. We've made a choice to make their voices the same rather than different. Initially, they had different accents, and it just made them two of different worlds entirely.
I've got Johnny Flynn playing the cellist, the man upstairs, who's good-looking, a brilliant actor, a brilliant musician, and will be a great foil for Cordelia, because the whole story is a sort of weird but peculiar love story as well.
I play a guy called Frank. He's an unknowable character really because he presents a version of himself that after a while you find may or may not be real, and you're not sure what version of him that you see as the audience is inside Cordelia's head. Mostly it's set in this block of flats and he lives above Cordelia and he comes into her life and things get weird. My character Frank and Cordelia have a kind of intense connection. She's trying to get her life back on track after this event that's left her kind of traumatized, and she's aware of me through I'm playing the cello upstairs, and she hears that and has this kind of imagined relationship with me before she meets me.
Alright, should we look at that again?
From the door,
Look at that again.
From the door, please, Johnny. Thank
I
you.
think I need to be here anyway. I think I need to.
It's a very intense relationship immediately because she's threatened by something, and so he becomes a sort of a lifeline and a kind of help to her, and she relies on him. And these two slightly damaged people who kind of need each other in this moment in time, and they actually are more similar than you might realise at first, and they realise that about each other, but they're both trying to present, you know, a different version of themselves to each other. What may be real to a character in one moment isn't actually real objectively. It's something that is a projection from somebody's mind, so it's like something that somebody's experiencing in their own head. What's real to one person watching the film is going to be not real to another, but it's different for different people, and I don't even know whilst making it what's real and what's not, and I'm not meant to. It's like it's a sort of subjective experience.
My character lives in a room, a couple of rooms, all full of antique things. He speaks like that a bit, and he doesn't know much. So I've got to be someone who's mentally disturbed. And so I don't really know Cordelia, but I know there's something wrong with her. She's a bit upset in the head. And I don't have anything in the head at all. So, so I meet her regularly. You can tell there's something wrong by the way she talks, and she's very quiet, and she walks in a funny way. And I've been doing this for over 55 years or something. I'm so part of acting, I suppose, all my life I've done it. I know all about it, and I know the rules of it. You get in and you just begin to know how to do it, what to say, how to behave, the way someone walks, the way they have their head. It just occurs to you, or it doesn't, and you get through it without doing anything, and no one knows. Anyway.
It's great to work with Antonia again. She's fantastic in this. It's such a weird character and a weird story in a good way. We're good friends. We've known each other for years. There's a trust between us as well that makes, working on this very profound in a way, I think. There's this kind of level of communication that's almost non-verbal. So much of this story sort of happens in the space between the characters, and in, you're sort of wondering what's really going on. And she co-wrote the script with Adrian. There's this overall sort of feeling that she has about the film, and a kind of care that is infectious in terms of my investment in it as well. And obviously her and Adrian have been developing this for a while, and I feel, honoured to have been kind of asked to come on board, and it's really a dream job.
So don't reset these cushions, these are
Yes, ask them to be. Right, let's have Johnny, please.
If you wanted to get more.
Nice.
We're building a set at Twickenham Studios, which is where I'm sitting now. And it's a fantastic studio. It's got a huge history. And Polanski, I think, shot here. So it feels like we're following many years behind, but hopefully we can make a really exciting film, which will be in a sort of a little homage to Repulsion and to Polanski's work.
I've loved being in the studio on the set that they've built. They've built these flats to be the flats lived in by Cordelia and Frank. And that has become a huge, for me, part of the atmosphere of the film. Walking onto the soundstage, you're in the weird world of the fantasy world of the film inside, Adrian's mind.
We're shooting on anamorphic lenses with Tony Ling's my DOP. We shot Funny Cow on anamorphics as well, which gives it a very, very special look. And we're shooting on film, which is, in this day and age, might seem like we're in the dark ages, but it's a lovely way to shoot, and it will give us a certain look to it and a certain feel to it. And we've just been talking about the tonal references and the sort of colour of it and the element of it, and it'll have a fantastic mood if we shoot it on film.
I don't know if it's just me, but the kind of stories that I feel like I'm being exposed to a lot at the moment are morally ambiguous and ask questions of the audience in terms of questioning, their investment in characters who they feel that they're behind, and then suddenly the character does something that they don't agree with, and are you still with that person, or do you switch allegiances, or do you recast your judgment and invest in somebody else? for me, it feels like a really interesting kind of allegory for the human experience at the moment. These characters and these stories that are maybe not kind of black and white. I just hope that through the style and the kind of the odd beat rhythm of it, that there's a reality as well, and that you can fully invest in these characters despite things kind of seeming slightly murky or through a hazy sense of reality. I hope there is a realness that people can invest in. I just know that it's going to work really well.